Hello, I'm a woman in my late 40s. My father died when I was young, and I grew up living alone with my mother. My father died when I was 3, so as I grew up, I couldn't even remember his face. My mother, who used to come sometimes, saw me and said I just looked like my father. So I remember sitting and looking in the mirror for a long time. So my grandmother or uncle came once every 3 or 4 months. I really liked it because they seemed to be thinking of us, but it turned out that they did not come for us, but for asking money from my mom. I only found out about it when I was in high school. Once I came home late after studying in school at night, my uncle was pleading for money from my mom. Grace, it's really only this once. If you give me $10,000 this time, how many times has it been in this year alone? You have already taken 3 times. Stop it? Swati Gibbly, hurry, mister, get out now. Do you think money grows on trees? How long has it been since my dad died? Why are you acting like in-laws to my mom? If you don't leave right now, I'll call the police. Susan, how can you act like that to your uncle? Where are your manners? Kids these days have no manners. Chris, you shouldn't raise kids like that. Already people would talk that she has no father. But if she is this rude, who will like her? Mister, that's none of your business. If I have no manners, what about you? What kind of discipline have you received from your family to come and demand money from your brother's widow when my dad passed away more than 10 years ago? I screamed at him, and my uncle had to return without getting a penny. Mom, if those people come, don't give them money. You aren't making money easily, right? So why do you let them treat you that way? It's about time that you stop. If you keep doing it like that, I won't be able to concentrate on studying when I'm in mid-school. How could I not worry about you while I'm in school all day long? I'm sorry. Susan, I was short-sighted. At first, after your father was gone, they came shortly after, so I couldn't turn them away. But now it's too hard to cut them off. But if your feelings are hurt, I shouldn't. Don't worry, I won't do it anymore. My mom was running a jewelry store that was inherited from her mom, so she operated it even after she got married. The store was large and handled only high-quality gold and gems, and she always had regular customers, so the business was steady. Thanks to that, even though my father died, we didn't have any worries over money. Still, with an excuse that they were my father's family, they kept coming to get money from my mom even after my dad passed away more than 10 years ago, which I felt was really too much. I felt in order to not have that situation again, I needed to have power. The only thing I could do was studying and going to a good university, so I immersed myself in studying. Once I set a goal, I could concentrate better than before. I became passionate because I had a purpose for the future. As a result, I passed my exams to major in pre-med at Johns Hopkins University. My mom was so happy that she treated all the merchants on the same floor she was in the building bragging about me. Of course, I was happy to see my mom become so energetic and excited in a long time. In fact, my uncle had come by several more times after that, and when my mom said that she couldn't help him because I was getting ready to go to college, he cursed at her before he left. I didn't know at the time because I found out much later. I just thought my mom became energized, so it was fortunate. But that night, my mom hugged my dad's photo and cried quietly and talked to herself. John, Susan got accepted at Johns Hopkins University. It has a top medical school. I felt so sad and resentful because of your younger brother and your mom, but Susan is helping me heal from those wounds. Thank you for leaving me a beautiful and a smart daughter. I went to my room, pulled a blanket over myself, and wept silently. I vowed to protect my mom at all costs from my uncle and grandma. But very strangely, shortly after I entered college, my grandmother passed away suddenly, and within a few months, my uncle also passed away. All of that made me think that they were taken by the order of heaven to stop my mother's suffering. To the fullest, there were a lot of friends who are enthusiastic about going out on dates, saying that if you can't have fun while in pre-med school, you couldn't have fun at all while going to medical school. But I couldn't do that. I didn't want to burden my mom with my tuition and spending money. Thanks to that, I was able to achieve great grades, and during my senior year, I scored well on the MCAT to enter medical school. During my residency, I chose neurosurgery. Everyone recommended that I pursue plastic surgery or dermatology due to my good grades, but because my dad died from a brain tumor, I wanted to specialize in treating brain lesions. Of course, it was challenging, but I wanted to help those who are ill like my dad to aid in their recovery. With such aspirations, I completed my residency, where staying up all night in the hospital was my daily life. Many requests for blind dates started to come in for me. I told my mom that I wasn't interested, but she asked me to try it just once. I had been asked out by many people, but I turned them all down because I didn't want to interfere with my studies. Still, I want you to go out this time. A lady on the second floor of our mall introduced him, and she says the guy seems really nice, so it would be a shame to let it pass. Why don't you go and meet him? I was unable to properly date because I was only studying. I think my mom felt sorry for me. Thus, just to please my mom, I went on a blind date. The man said that he was a grade 7 civil servant in a general administrative position. He wasn't good looking, but he seemed ordinary with a good personality. The man asked me to see him again, saying, "I don't know how you think of me, but even though I saw you for the first time, I have a feeling that you are the person for me. I'm not trying to burden you. It just means that asking you to see me again. I'm not saying it very lightly. I see what you mean. Give me a little time to think, though. Thank you." I said that, but somehow uneasy feelings about him stuck with me. To be honest, he didn't look like someone I could fall in love with at first sight, and I didn't dress up enough to hear such flattering words from him either. I was wary that he was saying that just because of my profession. However, he didn't cross the line and maintained friendly contacts, and because that caught my interest, I decided to see him more. However, I didn't even think about getting married. After about 3 months, he asked me to meet him on the premise of marriage. I said it at the beginning, but I liked you ever since I saw you. So, Susan, I want you to think about marriage. To be honest, it was a burden. Still, I wondered if I could ever meet a man who could love me as much as he loved me. So I told him I would get back to him a week later. Then, he didn't contact me for a week. He used to call me in the morning and evening to see how I was, but when he suddenly didn't call, I felt empty and lonely. On the 5th day, I called and said that I would do as he wanted. He seemed very happy. "Susan, I'll do my best to never make you suffer. When you open up your own practice, I'll do my best to provide backup help for you. I'll do my best so you won't regret it. I'm not looking for your help. We should give each other strength." Thanks for saying that, though. I'll try my best, too. He and I announced our marriage to the family. There was no opposition from either side, so everything proceeded well. When I went over to his mother's house, his mom and younger sister seemed nice. I wasn't very comfortable during the meeting of both sides of the family, but the atmosphere wasn't bad, so I thought it was normal. After finishing eating dessert, my boyfriend's mother showed interest in my mother's jewelry store when the meeting was over. Your store is in the Globe Shopping Mall, right? I heard that it is the biggest store on the first floor. Is that true? Yes, that's right. It's a store my mother used to operate, so it has some size since it's now stable. Oh, that's why you were able to raise your daughter to grow up so well without a father. Because you had money, even if you were a single mother, people around you couldn't look down on you. When she said that, my mother and I were somewhat bewildered. So I was about to say something, but my mother quickly stepped forward. "Thank you for being fond of my daughter. Susan, even if there are shortcomings, I hope you'll be kind to her." After we got home, I was upset and asked my mom why she said that. Then, do I fight with her on the spot? Could I do? I thought that was her personality. According to the second floor lady, she was not a mannerless person, but she could have said that without thinking. It's not a good situation to get angry. And she comforted me, saying that the person with a bigger heart should be kinder. I knew that in my head, but it didn't work out emotionally. When I met my boyfriend, he didn't say anything about it, so I figured that she just said it without thinking. But as time passed, the more I thought, isn't it wrong to say something like that without thinking? Then, when she asked to buy 2 expensive luxury brand items for wedding gifts, I hesitated whether I should go ahead with this marriage. I also cautiously mentioned to my boyfriend that the wedding gifts his mother wanted were too exorbitant. I know, but my mom seems to want those for sure. And the people around me also said that if you don't buy luxury brand items when you get married, when would you buy them down the line? It's a tradition to spend a lot of money for the wedding. But the problem was that only my side of the family was spending all that money. My boyfriend seemed oblivious to what I was feeling and only talked about where we would go for our honeymoon or where we would live. I started to feel disappointed in my boyfriend and became skeptical about our future together. I came home feeling wary and saw my mom talking to someone on the phone. No, it's not that I don't believe your words, but still, this is too much. I don't know how they just crashed into our store and took so many expensive things. Some were secretly taken behind me. Just tell me if there's anything I need to know about them. I didn't exactly, but I knew intuitively that she was talking about my boyfriend's mother. So the next day, I met my boyfriend and asked him straightforward, "By any chance, did your mom drop by my mom's jewelry store? I need to check on something." So I'm asking, "Yes, she said she went there yesterday afternoon. My sister Jessica was going on a blind date, and my mom didn't want to send her out any old way. So I heard that your mom chose only the most expensive ones for her. Anyway, aren't we going to sign the contract to buy our townhouse at the Park Club Ria? I told everyone in my department at work that we will be living there. Your sister was going on a blind date, yet did she have to dress up with jewelry of the highest quality? That's really overdoing it. And it seems that your mom just took those without asking. I don't think that was right. Could you tell your mom that she has made a mistake? Also, if we are buying the townhouse, unless you can put up the other half." I can't do it. Then my boyfriend's expression hardened. "Originally, the house is to be prepared by men, but are you offended because we are asking you to do it? It hasn't been long since I passed the civil service exam, so I ask you for understanding that I was short of money. And hasn't it been all decided? And first, I thought it could be, but no matter how much I thought about it, I don't think so. I think it's unfair to ask a man to do everything to buy the house, but since it's where we would live together, I think it's right to pay for it half and half. It's not like you don't have enough money to pay even half of the down payment. The places you want to go for a honeymoon are very costly. If we give that up and give up expensive gifts, then you should be able to add that to the down payment, right? So let's do that." I pushed hard. Then he frowned and said he would think about it. But the next day, his mom came to see me at the hospital. "I heard you said you pay half the down payment on the townhouse." I've said it before, that it hasn't been a year since my son passed the civil service exam and started working. So you decided to pay the down payment on your side. What changed your mind now? I also said it because I thought he didn't have money. But not only honeymoon, but for the wedding, the only expensive things are demanded, so it seems that it wasn't that he didn't have any money. If we saved money on those things, we could prepare for the down payment. Honeymoon or wedding gifts, all those would be over after the wedding. Rather than wasting money on those things, it would be better to spend money on the house where we would live. It was meant to be done together. It's because you're a woman that my son is wanting the best honeymoon or the wedding gifts because he is thinking of you. Why can't you be ordinary like everyone else? Usually, isn't it that women want to go to a special place for the honeymoon or buy the best wedding gifts? Of course, I also want to go to a good place. But we have to do it within our means. This passes the sexuals among the choices over honeymoon, gifts, and a house. I feel we need to invest in the house. Us. I don't know why you're so boring. You earn well. Then you can spend some more. Yet, must you split it in half like that? I am still a fellow. I don't have much money because I have been studying all this time. And I had to go soon, so I ended it there. I couldn't focus on work all day, and my head was full of complicated thoughts. As soon as I finished my shift in the hospital, I went to my mom's store. I wanted to relieve stress by having dinner together with my mom. But my boyfriend's mother was at the store. I didn't go in and stood where they couldn't see me and watched them, and what she said was a spectacle. Then try to convince your daughter. Is it because she is a woman who is good at studying? She's stubborn and doesn't have the slightest hint of cuteness. But I don't think our Susan said anything wrong. Instead of pouring money on the honeymoon and the wedding gifts, it'll be better to spend it on the house. When it comes to travel, if they have enough money down the line, they can go to good places, and as for the wedding gifts, they can buy better gifts in the future. I can't agree with your statement that Susan is stubborn and not cute. Shouldn't you say that she is more rational? Oh my goodness. I wondered who she took after, but it seems she takes after you. We were just thinking of her, so we didn't mean anything by it. But you talk as if my son is not rational, so I feel offended. It's the same for me. You cut down my daughter for being different from how you are at that. You did it blatantly then. My boyfriend's mother blurted out something she shouldn't have said right. I know no. That's why you had your husband die so young and will have to live alone for the rest of your life. I jumped into the store right at that time. I had your husband die so young and will have to live alone for the rest of your life. I jumped into the store right at that time. What did you say now? Who made my dad die? How dare you say that? Apologize right away. My boyfriend's mom looked at me startled at first, but immediately she changed her expression and said shamelessly, "It's not like I said anything wrong. Because women are so strong, men's lives are shortened. I almost had my son killed. I'm glad I got to know you guys as well. Regardless, apologize to my mom right now. Otherwise, I'm going to sue you for this defamation. This unless you want to get a complaint. Appoint a lawyer, and if you don't want to be in trouble, you better apologize. Only then, she said reluctantly, oh yes, I'm sorry. I must have said too much in my anger, but be aware of this. If this is the case in the future, your daughter can never get married. What kind of in-laws would like a strong-minded girl like your daughter? She made us sick to the end and left. But I thought it was rather fortunate for us. Ever since I started preparing for the wedding, I've been feeling uneasy. I think it was because they were so weird. Tell the lady on the second floor that this happened. That way you won't be misunderstood. I should have checked into them more carefully before I told you to meet him. I only made it hard for you. What is this? Because of you? As a mom, it's not like that, and how could we know other people's insides? We have to go through this to find out for sure. I like that person too. I would have done it if I didn't like him. Mother, I'm glad it broke up before marriage. I comforted my mother, but I found out that my boyfriend's mother was there earlier during the day as well and took a bunch of rings and necklaces for free. I became so angry, so I was going to ask them back, but my mom stopped me saying that we should consider it as paying our dues to get rid of those people. Well, I hoped this would prevent greater misfortunes in the future. I thought it would be worth it then, even though those people were so disgusting. When my boyfriend heard that I was breaking up with him, he suddenly came to see me at the hospital. I told everyone in my department and alumni that I was getting married. But how could you do this? Can't you just be understanding of what my mother was doing? No, I don't understand. I don't even understand you. No, this is not a matter of understanding. I'll give my best consideration and just say that the values of life are different. And why should I be responsible for what you said? You have to take care of it yourself. I said it coldly and turned away, and he spat out. Scary. Is this why all doctors are so nasty? Do you do that? He screamed at me. I just ignored him and left. Then for a while, he spread rumors about me that I was an unscrupulous woman in the university hospital where I work. He said that I was crazy about money and unilaterally broke off our engagement. I was too busy to pay attention to all that nonsense. Time passed and everything became quiet. The misunderstanding that people had of me at the time was also cleared up. There are things that time can do. After 4 years as a fellow, I became a full-time professor. In the process, I met a good person and promised to marry him. It was a really happy time every day. But one day in the doctor's office, an unexpected person came. It was the mother and sister of my ex-boyfriend. I thought they came to pick another fight with me, so I was very nervous, but she said something unexpected. Susan, please save my daughter Jessica. Jessica works as a graphic designer, but she always works overtime and is under a lot of stress. Well, she is diagnosed with a brain tumor. So please, I beg you. I was so shocked I didn't know what to say. Jessica's mom got down on her knees on the floor. Please, please. I am begging you. After my daughter became like this, the person who came to mind was you only. Everyone is a doctor, but whom can I trust? Please save my daughter, doctor. I was all wrong. Please get up. First of all, there are necessary tests at our hospital. So do that first. Then we'll talk again. When I said that, Jessica also shed tears, saying thank you. Her mother held my hand and begged me to save her. I felt very upset. After the two had left, one nurse told me, Bernard, those people your ex? They were the ones who spread false rumors about you in the hospital. How could you treat people like that? You can just send them to another hospital. I'm a doctor. I must treat any patients without prejudice. People have to be saved first. Doctor, you're too nice. She looked at me as if she was pitying me, but I was sincere. Doctors have to treat sick patients. After the test results came out, it was the day of Jessica's appointment, and the two of them came together again. This tumor needs surgery. Since it is in a deep area, it will be done by attaching a special frame. You don't have to worry too much, because we'll use laser equipment to minimize damage to normal brain tissues. Can my daughter get better with surgery? We need to remove the tumor and do a biopsy to know for sure. We'll talk again after surgery. When I said, Jessica's mom held my hand tightly and begged, please take care of her, doctor. Oh, please. She continued to plead. On the day of the operation, my ex-boyfriend also came. He couldn't even look at my face properly. He was standing there with his head turned away. I went into the operating room without a word. His mom kept praying with her hands together and asked me to take good care of her. After a long time, I operated on her, and luckily, the tumor was removed completely. I didn't see it becoming a big problem later. She had to take medication for a while, but it went well. Only then did my ex-boyfriend put his head down in front of me. I did something very wrong at that time. I am sorry. I made a big mistake. Everything is in the past, so let's forget about it. I'll do my best until your sister's treatment is finished. And I did as I said until she was discharged. I took good care of Jessica. My ex-boyfriend came to see me shortly after his sister was discharged from the hospital. I think the reason we met again is that we are meant to be. I'm not married yet. I heard that you didn't do it either. I wish we could start over. No, I don't think so at all. The reason I treated your sister was that I was a doctor, so I did what I had to do. Risk a marriage that has gone wrong once, but could it work again? I don't think so. Ask someone to marry. You should meet a good person and live happily. When I said that, he left with a resigned expression. After that, his mother sent my mom the money for the jewelry she had taken from my mother's store. She said she wanted to pay it all back. I thought she had a conscience. After all, after Jessica's treatment was finished, I lost contact with her, so I haven't heard anything about how they live now. After that incident, I got married a few months later. Now, after giving birth to a son and a daughter, we are living a peaceful life. My mom is still active. Complexity in life, even we encounter unexpected people and face situations where the relationship turns out in a bad direction. When that happens, it seems that how I had lived in the past mattered. I'm doing well and grateful every day for my ordinary life. In order to keep living this way until the end, I'm trying to do my best each day. I hope everyone is happy and especially healthy. Please cheer for me and share your words of wisdom in the comments section. Clicking and subscribing would be a big help to me. Have a wonderful day.